Welcome to Kidderminster Harriers Fans Podcast, episode 37, live on YouTube right now. If you're listening on YouTube, you're watching on YouTube, it's great to have you along. Don't forget to tell your friends, your family, and even people you don't like as well. And I'll tell you why, because they'll just add it up, subscribers as well. Talking of please hit the subscribe button, like I just said. Don't forget to use our QR code, which is by Nick. If you're watching anything on the Zone next week, tonight's panel are, and they're all coming in now. Tonight's panel are Jon, Nick, Dan, and myself. It could be a long one tonight, boys, so get used to it. Get ready, okay? So our special guest tonight made 634 League and Cup appearances with over 150 for Kidderminster Harriers in 3 spells. He's ready for it. His name is Keith Lowe. Keith.
Evening, chaps, how are we?
Oh, mate, spot on. Absolutely spot on, my friend. Keith, how are you doing? Are you okay?
Yeah, very good. Getting on. Missing a bit of football nowadays, but getting on with it. All good.
Do you still play, Keith?
No, not very often. I go for a kick around with a group of dads just over at the local park when I get a chance. But keeping me too busy at the minute.
How do the other dads deal with it when you put them 6 foot in the air, Keith?
I have to hold myself back. Try not to hurt anybody. I want to make friends, not enemies.
Oh, there you go. Keith, right, we'll get into it. So when you rocked up at Harriers, what was your immediate thoughts on the club? Did they need to sell it to you, or were you sold, or how did it go?
No, not at all. The first time round, I'd obviously contract had finished at Wolves, and to be honest with you, I was struggling looking around for a club. I'd been on trial. I'd been up in Scotland on trial. I've been down to Queen's Park Rangers. I was supposed to be signing there, but they'd gone into administration, so they had no money in the end. So that was a waste of time. And all of a sudden, phone call out the blue. 3 games into the season, Mark Yates on the phone, and he said, "Do you want to come down and train with us for a bit?" And it just all went from there, really.
Did you know Mark?
Yes, very briefly. He was assistant coach / player when I went up on loan at Burnley. So I'm guessing he had my number from there. And to be honest, I didn't know he was the manager at Kiddie at the time. But we had a little chat. He said, "Come in for some training," and I was, to be honest, I was really surprised at the facilities and everything we had at the time. Like, yeah. I didn't know anything about non-league at that point. I turned up and I remember thinking this isn't too bad.
Look, Keith, listen, mate, you're getting so many messages. It's ridiculous. I can't even do the messages or do the interview. It's one of the two. But yeah, what a hero you are, Keith. Absolutely. Let me just get back to what I was saying. Right. Everyone's loving it. They're absolutely loving it, Keith, that you're on. Thank you so much for coming on. What year did you start with us? Was it I want to say 08?
Yeah. 08, 09 season, possibly. Like I say, there'd already 3 games of the season had passed, and I don't think Kiddie had picked up a win in that time. Which probably helped my cause. But I remember first coming in, and I think we went unbeaten for around about 10 games. So we couldn't have started any better, to be honest.
Did you take all the plaudits for that? Like, it's Keith, by the way. It's Keith here.
I did it. It was so new and different to me that I was just cracking on with it. I was just enjoying myself.
What was your proudest moment of being a Harriers player, Keith?
You know what? I don't think there's a particular moment. I just think the whole of it all put together. You know what I mean? It's always been like, I make a thing of saying whenever Kiddie have called in, I've never turned it down. Hence being there 3 times, I've never turned it down. So it's always just felt like home, really.
I love that. Jon was just chatting to me actually on the road back, weren't you, Jon, about your T-shirt that you had. Do you want to explain that, Jon?
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, the big Keith chant that took over the North Stand. The club actually produced T-shirts with that they sold in the club shop with your face emblazoned on them, just with the word Keith, being the consumerist dream that I am. I was straight in to buy one, Keith, and I was, wore it proudly in the arms. It was a great time. I unfortunately, I think I've lost it in a house move. I think it was that and my national record of achievement are the two things that have been lost that I am absolutely gutted about. But that was a great time, mate. How did that feel when you were the centre of the buzz around the club at that time?
Yeah, it was. You know what? It was a nice time, really, because I think at the time I wasn't actually starting many games. I think I was sort of in and out, so it was a nice little boost for me on a personal note, really, because I think had they not brought the mugs out not long before for my birthday or something like that. I think they did.
Yeah.
38 mugs, sold 38 mugs for my 38th birthday or something like that. Anyway. And but yeah, like I say, it came at a nice time, really, because I was just starting to feel a little bit down about maybe not starting as many games as I wanted, and it just it just gave me that little bit of a perk.
Well, nothing like your whole range in the club shop for yourself to give you a bit of a boost, mate. Yeah, and thankfully, and that was the beginning of you coming back into the side, really, wasn't it? That you then had a run of being really not that you were ever not reliable, but you had a run of being a rock for us that you've had many times, and it was great that you had such backing from the Harriers fans, and you've only got to look at all the comments that are coming in. You were one. We've been lucky enough to have legends and heroes at the club for as long as I've been supporting them, 35 plus years, and you're right up there in terms of the names at the club. So it's great to hear you've got good memories and good experiences, and that you still love us enough to talk about us.
Oh, definitely. I wouldn't have turned this down at all. It's like I say, it's always been that kind of club for me. It's always been an enjoyable time, and yeah, I'm delighted to be here, to be honest.
Keith, you did play for some of our big rivals, right? Cheltenham, was it Hereford as well?
Yeah, I went from Kidderminster.
No shame from Keith.
I know. Well, I just followed Mark. I went. That's the reason I went to Cheltenham, because I'd had a terrible year at Hereford. What
happens? It's what happens, Keith.
Obviously, it was really, really bad. We just about survived relegation. Because Graham turned managers for the last 10 games and managed to pick up a few points. And then, like I say, Mark was on the phone, and I jumped ship again over to Cheltenham.
See ya. I'm off now, guys.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'll be back, like Arnold Schwarzenegger once said. If you've got any questions for Keith, please put in the comments. Keep them not rude or whatever, because Keith's just a great guy. Oh, Stu Wallstrom says, can you play Tuesday night, mate?
I think you've got a few more able-bodied people than me at the moment.
He puts himself down. This is why we love you, Keith. I love you, Keith. And Nick, have you got any questions for Keith at all?
Have I got any questions? You've played with several different groups of Harriers players, really. Just having a bit of a look on the internet now, just reminding myself, and played with Russ Penn as a player, and then I guess played for us when he was manager. I guess, how did you see Russ Penn being a manager when you were playing with him? Is my first question. And then my second question is, how did you feel in that Grimsby game when you sort of came in for Badrami and just put in an absolute... It was almost like you gave every last part of your soul in that game. That's how it felt being a fan. Was that the case?
In terms of the Grimsby game, it did. It just felt like one of those games. Again, I've not been in the side for a little bit. You doubt yourself, especially on the wrong side of 35, never mind 30. And so you do start to question yourself. Have I still got it in my legs? And again, it was just another boost. And I thought, I've still got a little bit in me. I can keep going for a little bit.
That was a phenomenal performance. What a day! What a game that was.
Yeah, I think that really set off the whole Keith chant. I remember every time I headed the ball, every time I controlled the ball, that's all you could hear. It was great.
And what does that give you as a footballer?
Sorry, Nick. I was just going to say, then it comes to an end and no one's shouting your name. No one's going, Keith, like when you walk down the stairs to get a cup of tea. That must be horrendous, right, Keith? Surely.
I have to get it started somehow. Or I'm going to have to come down to a game sooner or later. And I've not been for a long time now, I'm ashamed to say. But I'll have to get myself down Agborough and see if I can hear a few shouts.
Absolutely. Sorry, Nick, you were saying I probably interrupted you.
That's all right, mate. Yeah, I was just saying, Keith, how does that sort of feel? Because you could probably go through a whole footballing career and not have that level of almost positive affirmation every time you touch the ball in your whole career. So to be having that at that point in your career, that sort of time when we're a really good side as well, like what does that do to you as a footballer? Does it free you up to play? Does it make you more nervous? Like what does it give you?
Any kind of positive sort of noise you hear from the crowd, I always think is massive for a player. I don't think fans, when they're watching a game, realise the impact they can have on players. I've said it my whole career. When people are singing your name, or even just for the team, certainly from my point of view anyway, it's a massive boost. And I don't think deep down people on the terraces realise how much of a difference it makes.
Yeah. I suppose the opposite to that is if you're not having a good game and the crowd's quiet, how does that sort of impact you as a player, would you say? So I'm guessing you've played in games like that and teams like that over the years, like Hereford, for example. And
yeah, you can definitely tell when it turns and it's the other way around, and it's quiet, or worse than quiet, it's booze, and it's this that, and it's hard. That's when you've got to try and just block it out, play your game, but it is hard, and from a mental point of view, it is hard when the chips are down and things aren't going your way to tell yourself that I'm still a capable player. Just because this team isn't doing well doesn't mean I can't perform properly as an individual. Yeah. It's hard to see that point of view sometimes when you're 3-0 down in the 35th minute or whatever. It's a hard thing to do.
Keith, can we talk about the pressure of playing at Agborough? Because you played at lots of places and you've come back to lots of places. Did you find the pressure at Agborough more intense than anywhere else, or was it the same, would you say?
I don't know. I think because I've always gone out. I want to win football games, so I put that pressure on myself and my team to win games of football. So I don't think I would necessarily feel under pressure as much from a crowd. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I just dealt with that quite well in my career. But in terms of intensity for football games, it doesn't matter if I'm playing here, there, or anywhere. My intensity would always be the same in any game I went into, and I like to think that showed most of the time.
These dads have got it coming to them soon, don't they, Keith? They've got it coming soon. Doesn't matter whether there's two in the crowd or 5,000 in the crowd. Keith's coming in.
Exactly.
He ain't stopping for no one. Keith, Phil, he's a big fan of the Kidderminster Harriers Fan Podcast, has got in touch. He says, such a humble guy. Does he do any coaching work to help managers with their PR and fan relationships? We're having a bit of a moment in Harriers at the moment, so yeah. Do you do any coaching at all, Keith?
I did start a little bit of coaching, just some one-to-ones and this, that, and the other, but nothing serious, just to get me out on the grass, a bit of fresh air. It was just a bit of fun. And then recently I've been so my son's football, Milford Athletic, they've got a little under sevens team. And the dads have asked me if I don't mind going and helping them out, because they wanted just a few fresh ideas, this, that, and the other. So I've been down the last few Saturdays just for an hour and a half, and just helping the little ones with their with the basics, really. Just because they're obviously only playing 5-a-sides on a Sunday, so just helping out, really. Nothing too exciting.
Have you got the under sevens playing those cross pitch diags that you used to put in, mate?
Those little legs can kick a ball far enough. That'll be our main. That'll be our main aim, really. That's as good as a goal for me.
Yeah.
We had a comment coming in from Matt. He says, "Great defender. Best memory is when he scored a brilliant goal was at Histon. Do you remember that?
I do.
2008, 2009.
Yeah, it was a strange game because the pitch was not great at all, and I think Kreitz went off. I think he got injured, so Mark Crichton went off injured, and he handed me the armband on his way off. I'll never forget it. And I'd never been captain in a proper game before, and I was playing right back, and I managed to whip on it with my left foot in the top corner. So that I'll never forget that.
Wow. I can imagine. Were you one of the tallest right backs there's ever been, Keith? Do you think?
At the time, probably was. Yeah, it probably was. But like I didn't realise I was going to be playing at right back when I first signed. But yeah, once I started training, and Mark said we're gonna play you right back and see how that goes, and I had it was great really because I had no kind of experience pushing forward really and attacking, but I've got Martin Britton in front of me, and he did all the attacking, I did all the defending. It just worked.
I love that. Keith, sorry, are you on your phone or a laptop?
I'm on my phone.
Keith, could you just turn your phone so we get a proper landscape of Keith? Yes, there it is. That's the money shot. Thanks, pal. Sorry, that was doing my edit then for a second. Dan, have you got any questions for Keith at all?
Yeah, hi Keith, great to see you. 161 appearances for Kidderminster across your career with us. That's fairly impressive. You were kind of seen as the bedrock of the defence for a time. I mean, are there any battles with opposition players that really stand out, or who was the toughest you played against? I think those two questions I put to you.
Yeah, there's a few, especially going back. I think I used to hate playing against Reece Deitch.
Okay.
And then when I came back, I think for my second spell, he was at Kiddie. So we used to so I used to jump in a car with him in the morning. He used to meet a few of the lads going together, but I used to hate playing against him.
What was it about him?
Sorry?
What was it that you hated about him?
He's just horrible to play against. He's a really, in the car he's a great bloke. He's a really nice lad. And then just on the pitch, you'd rather be on your team than against you. Just work, hard working, never leaving you alone. Just trying to put you off your game, and just a bit of a workhorse. It was hard to play against. And then in probably more recent times would be Taylor at Spennymoor.
Oh yeah, of course.
Always guaranteed a goal. He just seems to score every single game. So he was always a real tough one to play against.
Amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dan, for that. Right. Okay. Right. So Keith, sorry, I had a question there. Best player you've played with at Harriers, and best player you've played against ever in your career?
Wow. Best player to play with at Harriers. You know what? There's a lot of people that have had really, really good spells when I was at Harriers. I mean, Penna, right in my first spell in centre midfield, was unbelievable. He was every blade of the grass, scoring goals, defending. He did pretty much everything. So him, and then Arthur, left wing when I came back under John Eustace. He was amazing, always in a position for that diag. So I really enjoyed playing with him. But to be fair, throughout the years, there's probably too many to name. There's genuinely, we've been on some great runs, and some people have been unplayable at times. So there's been some really, really good players at Harriers, to be fair.
Keith, when you left Wolves, who was in the Wolves team that we may know? Any big names?
There was at the time. So when I was playing my games at Wolves, We had Paul Ince, we had Darren Anderton, Jolyon Lescott, Mark Kennedy, Kenny Miller. There was a lot of people to learn from, a lot of people to, sort of put your wits against.
Keith, can I ask you a question on Jolyon Lescott?
Yeah.
I've heard other people say in interviews and whatnot that Lescott was one of those players that wasn't, I know obviously he had an incredible career, right into international football, but the view of him wasn't maybe as favourable as a fan as like maybe some of the other defenders at the time, like your John Terrys, Carragher's, etc. But people that have played with Jolyon Lescott said he's just he was literally unbelievably good as a player, like almost underrated from non-footballing people, if you will. What would you say on that?
I'd agree with that. Like he's up there with the best. He may be. I think maybe the only thing that would separate him is sometimes he doesn't. I don't know the best way to say it. Sometimes doesn't look as good as other people on the ball. Yeah. But then he would never misplace a pass. He would never. He would never get caught out of position. He was unreal. The amount I learned in the 3-4 years or whatever it was playing with him was unreal, and a real like kind of inspiration really.
There you go. Adam's got in touch. Says, Keith, come and join us on the foundation table. We'd love to host you. Not sure what that means, Keith, but you've got a date there, pal, I think.
Yeah, sounds good.
Keith, we spoke last week and you said that you weren't teaching anymore. So what are you doing now, buddy?
So now I've got I changed my job mainly because of school holidays and it wasn't quite working out family wise into not being able to really book days off and things like that. And then there wasn't sort of wasn't much of a ladder to climb in terms of progression as a career. So a job came up at Sandwell Borough Council. So I've jumped ship, if you like, took a totally different turn. And so I'm working as a facilities officer down there. More shift, more, kind of shift work, and just gives us a bit more time as a family to make the most of it while the kids are still young.
Yeah. It's all about kids, isn't it, Keith? They don't understand, Keith, but they don't get it, the kids. They're a big torture, aren't they, really, sometimes? Nick Hatton, who's also on the panel sometimes, he says, are you surprised Sol Campbell never hit the heights in management? Did you play with Sol Campbell, Keith? Or was he your manager at some time?
He was.
Macclesfield. Was it Macclesfield, Keith?
Yeah. He was for a while. Not many fond memories is the best way to put it, I think. So, honestly, I'm not surprised at all.
Do you know what? He comes across so badly on TV. He did the overlap. You must have seen the overlap with Gary Neville and that. And he just came across so badly. So what are you doing? What are you doing, Sol Campbell? But
I think we can give away that next guest isn't Sol Campbell on the.
Oh no! Thanks, Nick. Thanks, because
we're not having Sol Campbell on. Just in solidarity with you, Keith. If Sol Campbell does come on the podcast, the one question is going to be: do you regret how you treated Keith Lowe?
He'll say who? You don't have a clue.
But then we'll have you in the background, Keith, and I'll put you on a surprise.
Yeah, there you go. Sounds like a plan.
Keith, on that, in terms of, and I don't want to bring this to a sour note at all, but in terms of how you've been treated, when you left the club, and I don't think it was at the time what you wanted to do, when you left the club and went to Macclesfield, which in the end was, ended up in being an incredible season. I don't think there was one single fan who wanted you to go or thought that was a good move, letting you go. And I mean, you then went on the next season. Am I right in thinking you played every single minute of the next season? That's right. I mean, that in itself, every single minute of a title-winning season is just absolutely incredible. What was it like at that point? Did that in itself not kind of sour your taste at the club, or was it just, could you see it for what it was, that it was just the people there that potentially had the wrong idea about how to run a football club. What was that time like for you? And also, as you know, as someone who's played every minute of a season like that, how do you feel about players, you know, at any level of football now, saying that they need a break, they're being played too much, there's too many games, there's too much game time? I mean, come on, that must be, you know, 50,000 minutes you played that year.
Yeah, I don't get that. Obviously, it's totally different when you're playing Premier League and Champions League football every week. I'm sure it's a lot more stress on the body and the. But yeah, for me, if I wasn't playing, I didn't feel like I'm not doing my job. I never took not playing very well, which is a plus and a minus really. But yeah, it was again, it was one of those times where you're questioning yourself. You know, somebody tells you, you know, even though you've got another year left on your contract, that you're not, you're surplus to requirements anymore, basically. So it was a tough one. We'd already booked to go away, so we were away on holiday, and I'm trying to scramble around, seeing if anybody needs an experienced centre half.
Not obviously worked out amazingly well, better than I imagine you ever would have hoped at that point. And listen, our loss really was our loss that season. Was Macclesfield's game. So
yeah, it was funny how it came about, really, because once it had happened, I spoke to Jared Hodgkin, and he just signed for Macclesfield. And I was like, and as I was speaking to him, I said, "Do you think they need a centre half?" And he just passed me over John Askey's number, and I just cold called him out of the blue, and yeah, again, the rest is history. I managed to sign me, and that was one of the most amazing seasons that I'd had.
And no agency.
I'm just sorry, Keith. Just to let you know, Wikipedia still thinks you play for Macclesfield, so you might want to get that sorted.
Someone will be on it now. They've heard this. Somebody will be changing.
That'd be lovely stuff. Right, we've got a couple of minutes left, Keith. Unfortunately, we've got a packed out show tonight. But I just want to say thank you so much, Keith, for coming on, and we would love to see you at Agborough at some point soon. Just let us know when you go in. And I'm sure Jon and Nick and Dan would love to, just have a bit more of a chat or a pint in the Agborough Arms or whatever. Keith, the last question is, it's not really a question. It's the final word, which is all yours, Keith. So it's your chance to say thank you to the fans who followed you over your 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 spells at Kidderminster Harriers. So take it away, my friend.
Mine would just be again a massive thank you to everybody. Really, I don't think anybody is unsure about how I feel about Kidderminster Harriers. I think it's well known. My feelings towards the club, towards the fans, towards everybody there, and it has just been a kind of big part of my career and my life and my kids' life. You know, they've been down at Agborough playing on the pitch and watching Daddy play, and it's been a big part of their life as well when they were younger. So again, a massive thank you, and it's like I say, it's been a real big part of my life.
How can you not fall in love with a guy called Keith? Can we just do it one more time? Keith. Tell the missus and the family when you get off this, right? Tell them, say, listen, guys, this is the way it goes now. I'm sorry. You want it from Dad? Keith, that's the way it has to go. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Keith. Appreciate that, buddy.
Keith.
Cheers, pal. Have a great one. Have a great one. Thank you, mate. Bye. Bye.
What a great bloke. What a lovely bloke.
A lovely man. Oh, Keith, what an absolute legend. So there, it's Kidderminster Harriers Fans Podcast. How was that, guys? You like that one?
He's a legend. Proper legend.
You know what? You have a chat with someone like that, and you just almost feel better for speaking to him. What a nice sort of vibe and persona, and just sort of unassuming guy, isn't he? Just brilliant, to be fair, and a great player for us. Yeah,
there was a time when someone on the panel, I won't mention names, John, said, I don't think we should do former Harriers heroes. And look at you now, John, absolutely basking in the glory of that, mate.
I'm one of my proudest moments is being able to admit that I'm wrong, and I was there, absolutely. I think Harriers fans have got a tendency to look at the problems we've got either on or off the pitch when we do have them, and go, oh, well, let's get this person back, or this person back, or this person back. And that doesn't always work. And it certainly doesn't always solve problems. I honestly still, without, and there's no sarcasm or humour in this, people do still call for Graham Olner to come back to solve the problems. And as fantastic a manager as he was, I don't think he would fit into the club right now. But Keith Lowe is one of those exceptions that proves the rule, really. He was fantastic in every spell that he had for us. Great guy. And really was treated badly by the club at that point, or by the people that were overseeing the club at that point. And so pleased for him that he's gone on to fantastic things and seems to be doing really well. A very happy family man, and that's the dream. Have a great footballing career and happy life. You know, we'd all be good, wouldn't we?
Yeah. Although I didn't understand the whole quit being a teacher because it wasn't working out with the kids. Surely I thought that would be the most excellent job to have time off.
You can't book days off, though, can you? You can't book days off outside of school holidays, and if you want to go on, you've got to pay.
Yeah, well done, Keith. Anyway, that was excellent. That was so good. You're watching Kidderminster Harriers Fans Podcast with myself, Wes. We've got Nick, we've got John, and we've got Dan as well. Fellas, I want to have a little moment, if I may. So on the 7th of May, the Kidderminster Harriers Fans Podcast was born. It nearly didn't happen, and I had to almost beg people to come and be on the first episode on the panel. That was the only ever time I begged Dan Meese for anything. Thank you, Dan. 5 months later, and what a journey it's been so far. We've learned along the way. We really, really have. We've grown and we've made mistakes, which everyone does. I've been annoyed by things at the club, but the constant in all this, that has been the want and the need for Kidderminster Harriers to do well, to get back up to the promised land. Although we'll take the conference first. With over 80,000 views in 5 months, we find ourselves in a really privileged position. And I mean that, and I'm sure the guys would agree. People enjoy our content, and they let us know as well. They did on Saturday. We're still going to call out as we see it, still going to question decisions. Do you know what, though? We're going to celebrate more. We're going to celebrate the women's team. We're going to celebrate the under-18s FA Cup run and how they're doing. We're going to celebrate the beautiful man that is Jim Kellerman, the footballer who loves being on the podcast as well, which really helps. The other podcasts, the Agba Unfiltered, we're going to celebrate those guys. Everywhere we go, Kiddy on Massive. We're going to celebrate Nick as well. The 1-0 wins, and then forbid the 2-0, 3-0 wins. Didn't happen yesterday. Rome wasn't built in a day. And we lost that along the way. I think the guys probably agree with that in the last 5 months. There's no hidden agenda here. We're just some fans who want the club to do really, really well, exceptionally well. So come with us and let's enjoy it together. We can make a difference. And do you know what? We will. We absolutely will. And the podcast that nearly didn't get past episode 1, it's a story for the ages. Now let's talk about stories. It happened yesterday. All that said, Kidderminster Harriers went to Alfreton yesterday, and I was there. And the same thing happened again. Okay, so you guys want a short little brief thing about what happened? So I'm just going to do it in the new way, all right? So positives. We're going here positives. Obi was an absolute beast. Show Silva scored. The fans made noise, and we had 18 shots on target. Only one of them went in, though. The only negative was that we forgot how to defend in the 97th minute and couldn't score from the 17 shots we were given. Fellas, who listened to it? Who was there? Who listened to it? Let me know.
I was a listener.
Thoughts, Dan?
I will not speak about the game as I wasn't there.
Okay.
Thoughts about the game. Do you know, it sounded exciting from the Hereford and Worcester commentary. Those guys, as I always say, did a brilliant job, really sort of brought the game to life for us. It sounded like a good game of football. It sounded end to end. It sounded like there was open football being played. We're absolutely right. We're not taking our chances. It's obvious. We can see that. And I think that's something we're going to discuss in more detail later. But looking through social media as well, there's a lot of negativity about sort of what happened at the game yesterday, and I think it's totally understandable. You can see that. And the question I want to ask, and this is kind of the discussion I want to put to the panel, is we've talked about tactics. Are we getting the tactics right? If we're having 18 attempts on goal, does that not indicate the tactics are right? The issue is the fact we're not putting the ball away. And that's kind of what I want to ask everybody. What does everyone think about that? Where's you go?
So I will go with that. So 18 shots. It wasn't 18 shots. It may well have been 18 shots directed at goal, right? And if we'd won 1-0, no one would be talking about it now. They really wouldn't be talking about it. But the problem was we didn't win it. We didn't win 1-0. And they got an equaliser in the 97th minute, which, you know, if you're a defender, and I have been a defender back in the day, and if you're being pummeled by balls and balls in the box and balls, do you know what? Obi and Kalambayi, just excellent. Honestly, you couldn't ask for a better, taller centre-back pairing than those two because they were absolutely brilliant. But there's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can do. And I thought, you just knew it was coming. If, in fact, you didn't even have to be there. If you've been at the Buxton game, if you've been at the Macclesfield game, you'd have seen exactly what happened. 97 minutes. And that's because Dibble's got to stop. This dark arts thing doesn't work. You're not injured. Get up. Carry on with the game. You don't need to know anymore. You know how to play a game of football. And maybe, do you know what, actually? They were so good. Centre-backs were so good. Obi was amazing, right? That they actually took their striker off. And he was a big unit as well. They just took him off in the end. I mean, it paid dividends in the end because they got the goal. But yeah, so that was my thoughts of the game. Yeah. Phil saying, what counts as a shot at goal? There you go.
This is what I was going to say, Wes. So I was chatting to Dan briefly earlier, and, you know, Adam has spoken about the stats and what have you, the various bits of data. One of the key things that all football clubs monitor these days is XG. So there's a difference between shots on goal and expected goals. And I remember at one point there was kind of a bit of he might have even mentioned XG early parts of the season to sort of say we're in like the top 3 or something, or maybe it was last season, I can't remember, it might have been Phil Brown, but would be interesting to see where we sit on XG, because then I think you can really pinpoint that down and say, look, we are creating goal-worthy opportunities here, and our strikers, midfielders, whoever, are not taking those chances. You can then link that directly back almost as a stat to say they are getting the opportunities that are clear chances or good chances or expected chance to score from that shot. They're not taking them. We're not getting that. Shots on target could be shots from 35 yards that dribble wide of the post. You know what I mean? So I would like to see or know where we sit. Because at one point, Adam was saying we're top 3 on entries in the box, or we're top 3 on this, or we're top 3 on that, of all these detailed stats they get. XG, I think, is a great one for us to see where we're at, and then you can pinpoint it on the strikers. Whereas, you know, a header from the penalty spot isn't really a high percentage chance of scoring, as an example. And I totally agree with Matt's point here on the Dibble element. I know you've said it was about get on with the game. I think over previous seasons, Dibble has almost been so good at that. The season we went up, for example, even the season we got relegated from the National League, there were games where he was just so on the money with that. I do think that referees, officials have maybe cottoned on to the fact that this is happening more and more, but I still don't think we can put it at Dibble's door doing something that pretty much 90% of goalkeepers worldwide seem to be doing. Yeah, that being the reason we're conceding 95th, 96th, 97th minute goals. Ultimately, to your other point, whereas if we're allowing teams from the 80th, 75th minute onwards to be putting us under stress, I'll quote Adam Murray with that, if they're putting us under stress from the 75th, 80th minute, we're going to struggle to live with that on a consistent basis. I said it last week on the podcast. It's not repeatable to be winning games in the manner we will be beating the likes of Merthyr, Spennymoor on the Saturday. And I loved the Merthyr performance. It was a really enjoyable game. But last 10 minutes, and John was there as well, Obi, Dibble, Kalimbayi are under significant stress. And if we play those types of games 10 times, we're not going to win them 8 or 9 times out of 10. And this, for me, is what's playing out at the moment, where you get almost this, we play a style, we get to the 75th, 80th minute, it might be 1-0 up, it might be a 0-0, and then we don't implode, but we just invite so much pressure that it's just not a sustainable way to win football matches. That is my view of it. And I said that last week, and I stand by it, having not been at the game on Saturday. But if you're going to do that, if that's going to be a methodology, you have to see the game out. And if you don't, you open the can of worms that will no doubt be in the comments and, you know, on Twitter and all the rest of it.
But I don't think that is the methodology. I think the fact that, you know, whether they are, like you said to me earlier, clear-cut goal-scoring chances or not, there's still, the ball is in the box. I know something like 18 times. I don't know the exact number. Certainly I counted on, it's not as good a stats as you, Nick, but I counted 12 chances on Twitter or on X even. So, you know, there's clearly it's not that we're sitting back and we're trying to absorb the pressure or invite the pressure throughout the game. We are dominating these teams. So this is the perspective I sort of have started I guess reflecting on more than anything, is just saying to ourselves, you know, we're very much down on Adam Murray about the way the team is playing, but actually we are dominating teams. The issue is the fact we're not putting the ball away. Now, where the book stops with that, does that stop with the manager? Does that stop with the strikers? Does that stop with the recruitment? You know, pre-season, it's difficult to say, and I'm sure everybody on the comments and you guys will have your opinion on that. But ultimately, the way I'm sort of looking at this is we are dominating teams. We're not putting the ball away.
I've had a thought, and I spoke to John about this, and he said, what was it you said about rugby egg chasers or something like that? Anyway, my thought was this. Okay, on the bench, we have two of the fastest players in the league, right? We're, like it or not, Seb Thompson and George Walker.
Look at John's face.
I know, right. But you got to listen to me now. In rugby, Eddie Jones brought in this thing they were called the finishers, and they used to bring them on every single game where they had 20 minutes left, 15 minutes left. He'd bring the finishers on because they were big brutes of men, and they would put the opposition. Okay, they would do that. Now I'm thinking, if we brought on the two of the fastest players in the league, and we just said, listen, if they've got a corner, I want you right on the halfway line, because then that's going to change the team we're playing, their attitude, because they won't want to throw everyone in the box, because then they'll be like, hang on a minute, we've got these kids here, they're really fast. So that'll take some players out of the corner or whatever. Look, John, you were moaning at me, and that's fine. You can say, that ain't going to work, whatever. Give it a try. See what happens. See what happens when George Walker gets the ball.
And absolutely nothing against George Walker or Seb Thompson. If they come on and do well, fantastic. But what you're talking about there, it doesn't matter who it is. Leaving players up on corners, it isn't. It's not reinventing the game. It's what should happen anyway. Really, people just doesn't seem to happen anymore.
It's also what happened yesterday. So I've also read that that's what we did yesterday to take players out of our box. We were leaving more players than normal higher up the pitch. I think your point, Wes, is the speed of someone like a Walker or a Seb Thompson on that count. And I kind of, I'm hesitant to agree with you, Wes, just because that's my nature.
Just do it.
But I kind of sort of semi-agree in terms of not necessarily just from corners, but I think somebody like... I do think I've said this every week, so it is really boring. So apologies to everyone listening, but Walker has Premier League pace. We have to find a way. He's playing in National League North for a reason. Okay, so his pace alone isn't enough for him to be playing at a high level. That's why he's with us, and we've signed him from leagues below. But surely there has to be a way of us maximising or making use of an attribute that probably 99% of players in the National League North do not possess. Like how we bought it. I know he came in as a right back. He's never going to get in over Joe Folks. Totally get that, and wouldn't want him to. Again, I just feel like he needs to be higher up the pitch and to see him in those games. And we're not going to see him at the moment because we're under it, aren't we? Murray's not going to go and do something that's kind of a little bit crazy, a bit out there, because we're not in the position to be able to do so. The only time I've seen him play further forward might have been Macclesfield or the game before around that time. I thought it looked really lively, to be honest. And I thought he had a good game. And then I've not seen him again since.
Kings Lynn, he was brought on further forward as well. I'm
not saying he's the answer, Matt, by the way. I'm not saying he is the answer. But what I am saying is he is an outlet that surely can be utilised at some stage, given the fact that at the minute we are scoring a goal a game. So if in the absence of bringing in established centre forwards, which we haven't done for 3 years, I'm just thinking of potential alternatives that could help.
Well, it's give the opposition something to think about, isn't it? And that is an attribute that scares people. Pacey players. I'm trying to remember the game I was at, and he came on the left. I want to say Scarborough, but I don't think that's right. It was one of the games, one of the home games. It might have been, it might have been Buxton. But anyway, he came on the left, and he terrorised them on the left with his pace. And there was a couple of times, all he's doing is running, and they just cut across him because they don't know how to deal with him. And then suddenly you're in the position where you've got a free kick in a dangerous area in the final third. And I do agree. And I've championed George Walker every week. I always say that I want to see him out there playing football. I totally agree, Nick, that it isn't the time right now.
I just want to say about George Walker. After the game, so I had to scoot up all the way back through the home stand, which was lovely. And I saw George Walker with Xander, and I said to him, "All right, man." I said, "We'll talk about you on the podcast." And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah." Dan wants to see you up front, and he just started laughing and smiling. And I said, "Could you do a job up there?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I love that confidence. Thank you." Anyway, guys, just bow your heads, hold on to yourself, because we're joined by Agro Unfiltered.
Oh, fantastic, Adam!
Evening, gents. Evening,
it's
all.
the crossover everyone wanted.
Yeah, they did. I've made it happen. But I feel really bad now because we're not in a changing room or by a swimming pool. Yeah. So there you go.
I'll tell you outside. Don't worry. I've got both of them out the back. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Are you?
You're right, Adam.
Yeah, good. Good to see you.
Before we proper start, are you ever going to do a Agro Unfiltered when you are actually in the swimming pool? Because that's what we wanted. We
did talk about it, to be honest with you.
By we, Adam, what he actually means is himself, solely himself.
Is that right? Yeah. Are you inviting yourself around my house? Is that what it is, Wes?
No, basically, too far, mate. Too far. It looks pretty cold as well. So yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Adam, I brought you on for a reason because you were on the hotline. If you're not a fan of Kidderminster Harriers, if you're not a fan of Harriers Hotline on Facebook, please get yourself on there, add yourself, because I noticed you put something up. I think my dad liked it as well. I don't know if my dad wanted to get involved, but you wanted to find the heroes in Kidderminster. Is that correct, Adam? Tell me about that, please.
Yeah, definitely. I think that first of all, you guys are heroes, aren't you, for Kidderminster Harriers fans and what you do. And I think the reality is what I've learned is Kidderminster is full of amazing people. All we need to do is just ask and people will step forward and they will help. Since I've lived here in the last 10 years, people have helped me in loads of different ways. And lots of people have asked me what I do at the club. I think for the last 7 years of being the chaplain, it doesn't mean that I'm baptising people in the car park or anything weird like that. That's more about the pastoral nature of players and staff. And it was great to see you have Keith Lowe on. And you all said what a great guy he is. Lowe was one of the first people I met when I came to the club. He's just an amazing guy. George Walker, you were talking about him a minute ago, phenomenal character. There's some really good guys there. But in the last month or so, I've been brought in to help Nick Griffiths, the legend that is Nick Griffiths. I'm sure everybody
is a legend.
In Kidderminster.
What a legend.
Man. Yeah. What a hero.
You still got a pair of Sambas on every single day.
Every day, mate. Every day.
I'm sure, like Trigger's broom, I'm sure they're the same Sambas. He just resoles them every year.
Amazing.
He doesn't change, does he? Never ages. Always looks the same. But Nick has been leading the foundation for like 30 odd years. It's 1993 it started the foundation.
Yeah, amazing guy. Amazing guy. Like, what a service to the community over all the years. Like, incredible, really.
Like last year, 19,500 hours of coaching that they offered to the community. That's outstanding, isn't it? Really,
incredible.
That's
But we
just
don't
football,
know
right?
about
That's
it.
not like they've not gone to Sainsbury's and coached them how to put the things through the tills and stuff.
Yeah.
No.
Can you imagine?
I need someone to do that at the moment with the self-scan in Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
Christ.
Let's not get
Not
political,
tonight, Nick. Not
Yeah.
tonight, Nick. We've got Adam on. Be on your best
Yeah.
behaviour, pal.
But no, I think like the reality is like my role here is to increase what we do as a foundation and to increase the exposure of what we do as a foundation, and to diversify a little bit more about what we do. Kidderminster Harriers is the greatest asset that this town has and Worcestershire has. I believe that wholeheartedly. I knew it before I moved to this town. I feel it since I've lived here, and now I work for it. There's nothing greater than Kidderminster Harriers. And you are all sat here, you just said this, Wes, you're all sat here because of this great football club, your love for this football club and your love effectively for this town. So I put this post out saying, hey, if you want to come and volunteer, if you want to come and help, if you want to be part of the Harriers family, there's room for you to be part of the team. Not all of us can be on that starting 11. I think all of us would like to be in the dugout at times, especially Wes, picking that team.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we can all have a part to play, right? And we can't all have a podcast because there's only 3 of the greatest podcasts around, and really it's not room for any more, is there? I probably shouldn't say that, but I think there's so much good that people can do in and through our club. So whether that's on match day, whether that's midweek, we're about to launch a men's mental health hub. Maybe you've got a business and you want to sponsor us, you want to give us some money towards that. Last year we did some stuff with the police where we did stuff in the high schools where we took kids off the street at night, and we did loads of stuff where we did like twilight football. And I think again in that time there was 4 different sessions happening across Stourport, Kidderminster, Bewdley. So yeah, we want to do more, but we need people and we need money. So that's what I put that out for. And if people want to know more, then just get in contact with me.
Yeah, I thought it was really, really, really important because we're, as I was saying, we're in a privileged position. So if we, I nearly quoted Uncle Ben, John, Uncle Ben from Spider-Man. What did he say? What was his big quote?
He said, "Pop it in the microwave for 2
Oh,
minutes."
that's what I thought. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, John, for that. Always bring me down a peg or two. I love that. With great power comes great responsibility, but I thought we're not that powerful. But yeah, we had to get you on, Adam. Had to get you on, and also it's great to actually. I mean, we've chatted before and stuff, and we've got on. It's been brilliant, but it's great to know a bit more about the club, without intruding and that kind of thing. So the fact that you came on was amazing. Yeah. So how are we allowed to ask you about mental health for some of the players after Saturday?
Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can.
Cool.
I mean, you both Jon and Dan were down at training last week. It was really good to see you and a bunch of other fans down there. And I'm really glad you were there because you get to see what I see every week, really. And I think we hear Adam talk about the positive nature of camp and how good things are. And then on a Saturday, at times, we see the product and it doesn't quite match up. And I know Adam really well, and I know how frustrated he can feel as a result of that. But if you're asking me how people's mental states are, I think people are in generally a really good positive vibe at this moment in time. I was texting a couple of players earlier saying, how are you doing? How are you getting? After yesterday, you must be feeling frustrated, down. And a lot of them are like, yeah, really annoyed, but we're going to use it as fuel to get us over the line this week. And I really believe that not one of them is thinking we've done a great job on Saturday, but all of them are thinking we can do better on Tuesday. And I really believe that on Tuesday, I would really just implore everybody to come on Tuesday. It's going to be a great night. I think it's a good opportunity to see I haven't seen Bedford before, so it'll be interesting to see what they're like. But I think these players are desperate. There's not one player in that camp that isn't hungry. And even the ones that are out injured, last week when you were down at the training pitch, I was in the cafeteria having lunch with Digger and with Tunney and a couple of others. And, even their attitude is we're just desperate to get back on the pitch. We're hungry to get back out there. So, yeah.
It's a shame, Adam. It's a shame that Digger was injured because yesterday was Digger's game. away at Alfreton, just going and sorting everyone out and, you know, getting involved in everything. There was a moment, right, and I'm sure there's been moments like this before, when Joe Folks, that is, went in for a tackle with one of their players and they both collided. And I swear, everyone in the away end went, because we thought, oh, he's going to be injured. He's going to be injured. And he was down. It was like, oh, God, he's out. He's out. But he managed to walk it. He hobbled off for a bit and then he went and that kind of thing. So that was good. So has Adam got a cat and does he kick it every now and then?
Has he got a cat? I don't know. I
Great
don't
question.
think so, mate,
Thanks, John.
if I'm honest with you.
I didn't mean a good question, but carry on.
Yeah, John, I've got a question for you guys. John and Dan, you were down there this week. What was your impressions of being around the training ground?
First of all, it was great to be down there, and really grateful. I think we'll touch on this a bit later, but really grateful of everyone's time, players and staff. I thought that, you know, when they're in a point that they're really trying to kick on, that it was good of them to give up the time. I feel like overall, I think that you're spot on with what you're saying about the mood in the camp. And I went with the idea of asking people that I spoke to, players and staff, a couple of questions. The first one being, are you enjoying it? Are you having fun? Is it fun to play at the minute? Which might seem like a silly question, but it's a game. It's supposed to be fun. That's when you get the most out of it. And secondly, like as Wes said, you know, we've whether we've got one person listening to us or 1,000, what can we do as people who are talking about Kidderminster Harriers to try and help you guys in what you're doing? And everyone, to a man, was positive, but you see them on the pitch working together. And they're all there for each other. They're supporting each other, encouraging each other, and competitive in training as well. You know, whether it's training or a game in National League North, they want to win. They want to score goals. They want to do the best that they can. And Amari actually, because Dan had his nephew with him, I had my son with me. Amari actually apologised before he walked onto the pitch, saying, "I'm sorry, guys. You might hear some foul language, but I just want to win. I am just so competitive. I want to be first to the ball and I want to score goals." So, you know, sometimes I swear. And that drive is in every player. Every player cares about this club. And I think that's not just this season. I think it's been ingrained in the club over a number of years, but every player cares. Every player wants to win. And do well for each other, for the fans. And we've all got a role to play in that. But spending some time around the club and at training certainly made me feel like everyone's pulling in the same direction.
Yeah, I second that. I think the thing that really struck me was the intensity. Like the intensity was something else. You know, I remember sort of my days back at Mostyn Rangers or wherever, you know, and training was a little bit tippy tappy, and you didn't dive in for challenges. There was none of that. Like, wow, it really got stuck in. A couple of spicy moments as well, where players, you know, were being pushed apart, and you can see that the competitive edge is definitely there. The other thing that I found amazing, and I would like to chat about this a bit later, was meeting Adam Murray and having a really good chat with him. And the guy is a very, very intelligent, switched on guy, and currently a very frustrated guy as well. We could definitely see that. And one of the things I did say to Adam, the conversation that myself and John had with him, you know, the 6,000-7,000 people who listen to the podcast, plus the other 2,500 that are at the games, all needed to hear that conversation and hear, you know, what is going on in his head and in the backroom staff's head. I think it's easy for us to get frustrated because the results aren't going our way, and we need I guess an object to be able to pin that frustration on. But it's to me, it really did change my perspective on what's happening at the club. It just needs to translate onto the pitch now. And I genuinely believe, you know, the interview that Adam Murray gave yesterday, I agreed with some of the points he made. And, you know, the goals go in, you know, we're third in the league. At the moment, we're the position we're in purely because other teams have games in hand and things like that, and it is frustrating. But it definitely changed my perspective of what's going on at the club being there, and it was a great morning as well.
I've said this before on previous podcasts. I don't think anybody disputes that professional players and professional managers don't want anything more than to win every single minute, every single game, every single training session. Like, that's why they are professional sports people. That's why they're in that profession, because they have got the physical capability and the mental capability to have got through academies, kids football, grassroots, all the way through the academies, typically at even much higher standards than the Harriers, and then they've sort of worked their way down. But I just think sometimes, it's not sometimes the message, it's how the message is conveyed. And I think sometimes he struggles to convey what he wants to say in a way that gets people behind him to the level that maybe some of the managers do. And ultimately, he's a youngish manager. He isn't he's not an ex-Premier League or Championship manager. Like, he is learning his trade like we all probably have or are doing in our own professional careers. But I think one of the things that I picked up on yesterday was when he said, I don't care if the fans like me or not. You would never hear a manager of a big company say, I don't care if my customers like me or not, right? I get the principle of what he's basically trying to say, which is, regardless of what the fans are saying, all I care about is getting results and driving us up the league table and being a formidable team. That's what he's saying. But sometimes where I think he struggles, and one of his development areas that I sort of see are those conversations in the media where he has the opportunity to galvanise and bring the fans on the journey with him. And he just uses the wrong kind of language, and it becomes a bit more fractious than maybe it should be. And when you couple that with conceding 3 or 4 goals, in the last few minutes of games over the last 4 or 5 matches in this season, it just makes it really difficult for him. As I wish he'd just say, or just be able to articulate what he wants to say in a way that gets people with him, because then we can be powerful. You look at someone like Keith Lowe that was on this meeting earlier. He is a player that said, fantastic at Agborough. Not meeting, right? Yeah, it's just on my laptop in my usual space. But he was on he was on the call earlier, and he was sort of saying about how Agborough can be such a positive place, and he loved playing at Agborough. He didn't feel the pressure of it, but he was a player that felt that love. I think as a player, with the nicknames and the whole Keith and all that stuff, I think Adam's just got to somehow find a way of creating that feeling, and I think he's just struggling with that so far.
Yeah,
which is limiting him.
What's interesting on that, Nick? Sorry, what's interesting on that, Nick, is that I remember we had a conversation. I don't know when it was. It was right at the start of the season. I don't know if you remember it, Agborough, and you said, "I don't get it. Why do you love Adam so much? What is the loving upon him?" And I said, "Have you met him?" And you said, "No." I said, "I think once you meet him, you'll understand and that's what Dan and John are saying. I think listening to you, you're not wrong in what you're saying, but I think for Adam, he's just so raw and authentic about who he is. He doesn't want to, I think that authenticity will always trump excellence at times, but in this moment, the authenticity is causing a reality that isn't working for fans. Does that make sense? Because I think he's been so raw and honest with his emotion and his feeling that at times it can come across negative or even like he doesn't care. But he genuinely cares deeply about this club.
And I have met him. So I have met him, Adam. No, so I met him probably a week or two after that conversation we had, where I sort of said, about the love-in scenario, and we had that conversation, and you said when you meet him it will change. And to be fair, I always find meeting football people interesting. I thought he talked well at the curry with Murray, had a conversation with him one-to-one outside afterwards, really good. It's not that I personally have an issue with him. My issue is that, as part of being a football manager, unfortunately, and I said this before, I think his attributes are best suited coaching, all the stuff that you say is fantastic in training. He's obviously been a successful manager and coach at clubs bigger than Harriers. I just feel at the minute what is limiting him, what he needs to try and change that can really get that bond back with the fans, is if he can just improve what he how he articulates his messages in those media moments, I think it can make a massive difference. Yes, he's raw. Yes, I understand he's frustrated. But it's just how can he try and package that up and deliver it in a way that gets people behind him instead of have this kind of, and I'm not talking about myself, it's what you see in the comments, it's what you see on the fans forum, it's what you see everywhere, that this whole fractured relationship between the two. And I think it's at times his messaging that is limiting that relationship a little bit. And if he can work on that and tweak that, I think it will help him. I don't think it can't make it worse on the pitch. It can only help it.
Sorry, Nick, just on exactly what you just said, I get every word that you've just said. And after spending some time with Adam, I mean, he gave me and Dan over an hour of his time, which he didn't need to do. Having met him, I'm not just going to be completely positive just because I've spent some time with him. We had a really open, frank and honest conversation. And I said to him, one of the first things I said, which he reacted really well to, was, we're going to be here long after you're gone. You're a custodian of this team for this present moment. And
he's not dead.
He said, absolutely.
Free love on the free love freeway.
Foregone conclusion. No, and he took that exactly as I intended it, which was, yeah, you know, he is right now, he's a custodian of the team and the footballing matters. And he said, you know, he gets that we're passionate people and we're saying what we think for the best of the team. He admitted to us that he said, you know, there's things that he at the time said because that's who he is. He's, as Adam said, real and authentic. He says what he's thinking and he thinks, oh, did I shoot myself in the foot a bit with that? But at the time, you've got a microphone and a camera in your face. You know, you kind of say what you're thinking at the time. My point that I think that not enough of us have looked at is what support is Adam Murray getting from the rest of the club? We're talking about supporting the club and seeing it as one club, not are you pro Adam Murray, are you anti Adam Murray, whatever. But we are all saying we are pro the club. What support is he getting from Richard Lane? What support is he getting from Dean Holdsworth? What support is he getting from the rest of the club? You know, there's if you look up and down the leagues, and this is something that came out of the conversation we had with him. If you look up and down the leagues, if you go to a game anywhere on a weekend, you open a program and you're likely to see chairman's notes, a note from the technical director, a note from the treatment room. He, at the minute, is in a position where he's essentially having to be almost chief cook and bottle washer, and he's responsible for communicating everything. And I don't feel, looking at what's going on, that he's getting enough support with the media side of things. He's having to communicate things that are happening within the club rather than other people doing that. And I think that people need to step up to support him. Everyone on this meeting who wants to meet has said his strength, which we saw, his strength is his football coaching and his football management. It's I'm sure he'd admit, and I'm sure, you know, Adam, you'd probably had this conversation with him as well. The media side of things isn't his favorite thing to do. It's not his forte. Yes, of course, that is a role as part of being a football manager. I'm not saying he has any right to step away from that, but I don't feel like he's getting the support from the rest of the football club. And I think, you know, really that's a challenge to the club. Are they supporting the manager enough? If not, what else can they do? Can they help him in some of the communicating with the fans? Can they help him in some of the roles that he's being shoved into? Because at the minute, everything is going through him. You know, if there's an injury, he's blamed for overtraining players at the minute, rather than, oh, well, they've just picked up an injury. I don't know whether anyone else thinks that's a fair comment or not, but I'd really like to see a bit more coming out from some of the other people at the club, whether that's Stuart Watkins, whether that's Richard Lane, whether that's Dean Holdsworth. Like, I feel like there needs to be a support team there for him, which it feels like at the minute he's just isolated in what he's doing.
The message that was just on the screen talking about Phil Brown, I think Phil Brown was a master of, for want of a better way of saying it, media manipulation. He was very good in front of the camera, and he really made the fans feel part of the club. But what was really fascinating, and I am mentioning no names here whatsoever, but the feel from inside the club when we were there on Wednesday, and we talked about Phil Brown with a couple of the players, there was a relief, because the vibe we got was that actually the players didn't enjoy playing for Phil Brown in the same way that they're enjoying playing for Adam Murray. And that really surprised me, because the view that we got of it as fans was that there was such a positive buzz about the club. And people are saying, watching the interview and seeing Peterborough winning against Chorley, and how the positivity and the praise of the players, apparently that wasn't happening behind the scenes. And I think
that's a skill in itself, though. That is a skill in itself. Exactly. Being able to have a message for your fans, a message for your players, a message for your staff. They are different jobs. They're different roles that you have to be able to effectively carry out. And I think in Phil's scenario, he was fantastic in front of the media. But ultimately, potentially with the players, he wasn't to the level that maybe Murray is. We don't know that, because we don't get to see what Adam is doing with the players. He might be fantastic. From what you said about training in the week, it sounds stellar.
It was so impressive to watch. So impressive to watch.
Can we let Adam speak? He came on to about heroes and Kidderminster.
Sorry, Adam.
And he looks like he fell asleep then. Go on.
No, I don't know. I just a couple of things. I think, like, the club,
I'm not chaplain.
Being chaplain, you can see. I saw so much. Now being there every day, I see a lot more. And I would say the club are there supporting Adam. I think that there is people willing to help and to support him. And but some of this is about who he is and his personality. And sometimes your personality is different. To Phil's phenomenal at being a media personality. He's great. He's got years under his belt of doing that. You think about at Hull, you think about even down to Southend, like the interviews he would do, and he was like, I was a Sparky, I'm in here doing whatever he was doing when he was fixing stuff up. He is brilliant in front of that. He's had years of training of that. I think what Adam's strength is behind closed doors, he's like, for me, he's very pastoral. He's very caring. We don't see that as fans from the front end, and I hear what you're saying, Nick. I absolutely hear that. But I think it will be those moments where fans are invited into this almost like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory moment of the golden ticket. You bought some stuff, you get to come down. I don't think that he's adverse to saying to fans, "I'm happy to, you." Come down. I think he would be willingly open to allow fans to come down and see it.
Are you saying to me that Adam Murray is the footballing equivalent of Willy Wonka?
I mean, you should see his purple suit. That's all I'm saying.
Wow. What you do on the weekends at sea, mate?
Yeah, that's it. But listen, the club for me, and obviously I'm talking now as a staff member, off the field over the last 5-6 years, we've been on this phenomenal journey with Richard Lane. Obviously, the news has come out that they're putting a bid in for the stadium and the car park. Yeah. This is all good news that's going on off the field. On the field, we've had some success under Jim and Russ. All of us know, including them, that was a shock season when we went up. Like, that was something, everything just clicked in that moment. It was like the perfect storm. We went up when none of us expected it. I don't even think they expected it before it happened. And then, Luck went against them when we were in the National League and we came back down, unfortunately. Phil came in, and I won't lie, I loved it as a fan with Phil Brown, because he did do everything. He pandered to our needs. He stroked us as fans, and he made us feel like 10 foot tall. That is something like, it is a gift that you're saying that is, Nick. And some of us are trained in that. He is phenomenal at that. And that last season, I think we all have ran through brick walls for him. My nan would have done. My mum and dad don't even live in Kiddie, and they used to love coming to watch it with him being the manager. Adam's come in, and it is a fresh start, fresh players, everything. And I still think the club is doing amazing things on the field. We're on the right trajectory. With the foundation, just coming back to that, as you brought me on, Wes, thank you.
It's okay, it's fine.
The foundation has been like doing amazing things for 30 years. And I think that we're primed to do something even greater in these next 30 years, hopefully. And, you know, I always think about what it says on the edge of the £2 coins, so standing on the shoulders of giants. That's what I get to do, being invited into this moment. I stand on the shoulders of Nick.
Just here. Is that you mean? Just here.
Yeah, just here, mate. Yeah. But Nick Griffiths, like, what an amazing guy, what he's done, the people he's brought in, how he's led this charity has been unbelievable. And ultimately, the foundation is a charity. It's there for the purposes of making Kidderminster better, the community better. And that's what we're all about, is bringing like healthy minds, healthy bodies, healthy communities. That is what we stand for. And if you want to be part of the Harriers, off the pitch, this is the perfect venture to do it in, and I want to encourage you all to be part of that. And listen, Kidderminster Harriers Fans Podcast, I would love you to be part of that as well in any way, shape and form. So I appreciate you inviting me on tonight.
That's not a problem at all, Adam. Listen, mate, like I said, with great response. Well, whatever, great, whatever. John shot me down with that one, so it's fine. So I just had a comment from @uglykarma, great name. I'd consider it if there's an actual structure to this. Shut up, you knobhead. Do you know how long it takes me to write these interviews and stuff? Exactly. So thank you very much. We don't want your time. Thank you very much. I love you, really. Adam, thank you so much for coming on. I know you're holding on for your big moment in the sunshine. When I say to you, Adam, any other business, my friend?
Oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this. Yeah, I think I just want to highlight this coming weekend. It's the Armistice weekend against Darlington. So we will have a few things going on at the club. And I really just want to encourage anybody who's thinking about coming on that day, come. If you are serving or you have served in the military in any way, we would love it if you came in uniform on that day. It would be amazing just to I was at you know, the 5-1 terrible loss that we had. I actually wasn't there. I was at the Rugby League Grand Final in Old Trafford, and they have a load of the military serving on that day. And what's so phenomenal is that you look around the stadium and you spot them around the stadium. I would love it if Agra was just a multitude of colours of people from their military serving days. It would be such a great thing to be able to honour you guys and clap you and just, yeah. That's my any other business. It's not that deep, but yeah, come on the 8th, be part of what we're doing.
Love that. Thank you so much for coming on, Adam. I'm just going to say, can we get you and the boys and us all together and go for a curry or something?
Let's
and then
do
we
it.
can do. We could do that. That'd be all right, wouldn't it? I think that'd be fine. I reckon so. Nick, any other business, please, my friend?
Have I got any other business? No, I don't think so.
Love that. At least he's honest. John Smith, any other business, please, John?
Well, I was going to ask the question when we were talking about the foundation. Has anyone ever nominated Nick Griffiths for an MBE? Because to me, he's like ideal candidate. My any other business, again, comes from training the other day. I had the pleasure of getting some time with the players. And like I said, what can we do to support you guys and try to achieve what we're all trying to achieve? And it comes back a lot, and I'm so glad Keith Lowe said it. It makes a huge difference what they're hearing from the fans, and the tone that's coming out from the fans. And I was talking to Amari, and I said, after that Radcliffe game, would anyone have believed that we get 7 out of the next 9 points? No, we all thought, my God, we're going to go into free fall. And he said, well, can you tell some of the other fans that it's not all doom and gloom? So this is me doing that. And the other thing that he said, which I thought was really interesting, was as a player going to an opposition ground, you dread that being hostile. So yes, it's great that you're supporting your own team. Make it hostile for the other team as well. So let's do that as much as we can. Let's get behind our team Tuesday night. And let's get on the other team's back. I'm not, Adam, I'm not condoning, shouting and swearing at goalkeepers. Maybe I'm a bit. But let's make sure we're getting behind our team, making it a difficult place for the opposition team to play, because that's what we want. We want it to be great for our players. We want it to be difficult for the opposition. So, again, I know I did this last week, a rallying call. Everyone who's going Tuesday night, please, even if it's just one shout of up the Harriers, come on the Harriers, or F off the opposition, then please just get behind the team as vocally as you possibly can, because that's what makes a difference to the players on the pitch, and we can do our
without just saying get it forward. That's my caveat to that. I don't
agree
think that helps.
Yeah, and Matt, comments about me getting the chance going. 100%, Matt. I'm going to be there, hopefully with you Tuesday night, and we'll get the chance going together, mate.
I love that. Thanks so much, Jan, John, or Jan. It's between you and Dan, that is.
The merger of us.
Dan, any of the business, pal? Any of the business?
My any other business is just sort of jumping on the tails of what John has just said, really. But more kind of from the perspective of we're allowed to be critical and we're allowed to have opinions. But let's not get personal about it. Let's stick to the fact that ultimately what we all want is for this club to succeed, this club to do well. Whether it's the end of this season, next season, whatever, be playing in the National League. That's what the goal is. That's what our common goal is, what everyone's thinking. Let's keep that at the front of our minds. Let's get behind the lads. I've been sat here trying to think of how I'm going to explain to the missus that I am going to go on Tuesday, and that's going to probably go down like a lead balloon. But my plan will be to be there. Yeah,
John and Adam said they have to go. So sorry, love.
Exactly, and of course it's Bedford. Bedford's a place that's got a lot of meaning in my heart. So I need to be there. So I'll be there on Tuesday as well. And John, I'm going to come in the North Stand with you, I think, and let's get some chants going.
That's
under the lights.
Absolutely.
You cannot beat Agbra under the lights on Tuesday night. And then the next 3 games are at home. So if we can create a bit of a mini fortress, get a run together, and sort of get that Agbra Jinx vibe off the back, that'd be good. Hopefully, it's a free flowing game, atmosphere going, and kickstart another mini run.
So my any of the business, Harriers ladies lost 3-1 today at home to, is it Leafield Athletic? I think it was. Is that correct, John?
At home.
Yeah. They're the informed team, though, aren't they? In the ladies' league at the moment. Yeah, they're a very good squad.
And Tuesday night, I was saying Harriers against Bedford. I'm going to set up a listening party on this channel for all the exiles and the people who can't make the game. We can all be in the same place. It'll be commentary just from BBC Everton. Worcester. Don't think I'm gonna, what is it? What's the word they use? I don't know. But don't think I'm gonna do that. It's literally just BBC commentary with me on here, probably eating yogurt, and just having a chat with everyone if anyone wants to come on, because I won't be there. Adam, you seem disgusted by eating yogurt.
The content is unreal. The content is unreal. I mean, yogurt eating, like whatever you want to do on a Tuesday night.
There's a reason we're number one, mate. Sorry, but there. Because we put out great content.
You're going to get a lot of comments asking about the ground purchase. Do we have time to talk about that, or should we save that for next week?
Are we going to buy it within a week, or should we do it next week?
My contract doesn't take me past 21:25 on a Sunday, I'm afraid. So
there we go. Sorry, man. Nick, the housewife's favourite is going to be somewhere else. If you know what I mean, probably OnlyFans. Probably I would have thought. There we go. Listen, guys, that was an excellent episode. We've had Keith. Hang on. Let's do this properly. Give me 1 second. We'll do this properly. So today you've been entertained by Keith Lowe. Thank you, Keith. By Housewife's favourite Nick. Well done, Nick. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate that. John, Riley Reynolds, my lord. And Dan, of course, is going to explain to Cara, his missus. She's pretty fit, Dan, so just do whatever. If she says no, just say no. Okay, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. There you go. Thank you, Dan. And Adam, you crossed the Rainbow Bridge, but not in your dog's dead kind of way. Sorry, mate, that was the worst thing to say. You crossed over the bridge and you came to see us at the Kidderminster Harriers Fans Podcast. How was that for you, pal? Was it okay?
Yeah, I've got a counselling session after this, so it'll be fine.
Just a round of applause.
Big round of applause. Oh, there we go.
There we are. Yeah.
I tried to do a big one by clicking it loads of times. It just went off. It was ridiculous. I've been Wes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. This will be uploaded straight away for your listening pleasure in the car to work on Monday, but it's better because we're on there as well. So thank you so much, guys. I appreciate that one. And we will see you all, well, Tuesday night. I'll be here Tuesday night. So I'll speak to you then. Cheers, guys. Thank you. Cheers. Bye,
Bye, everyone.
Harriers.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Go on, you Reds.